So, book 2, chapter 6.
Can I get a page reference, please?
Hmm?
Can I get a page reference in the book?
Anyone's got a book? Book?
No.
Is it a new
221.
My
But
book-
that's
yeah,
an old book.
yeah, mine's 221 as well.
So what's the chapter again? Sorry, a new choice?
The act of prayer,
So,
6.
good morning.
No, I'm with believe.
What did you say, Con?
What chapter we on?
6, the act of prayer.
Yes.
Oh, God, where am I?
In the mountains.
Yeah. I went into. That's weird.
Book 2, you might have a different book or something.
God. That's weird because I went straight after.
Are you in too many groups?
Too many.
Yeah.
I'm cutting down. Oh, it is. Got it. Hey, Alison.
Hi.
They
Hi,
are
Leanne. Good to see you. Kath. Lovely.
bit chilly
Hi,
there
Con.
in New Zealand, is it, Alison?
It's cold, but
You look it.
not quite cold enough to put the heater on.
Oh,
It's more clothes. Yeah, it's warming up. It's a nice sunny day. It's just, yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Doc. Let's tune inward and listen to our hearts. Mhm.
Carl, can I just say something very briefly? I had a listen to one of the recordings of your Slovak group, and it was absolutely beautiful to listen to because the energy just came through. I just wanted to say that. It's just really, really lovely.
Oh, thank you. It must have been Course of Love reading, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm so glad you went in. Slovakians have something very interesting. It's like a quality, like this got this Slavic something in there. And just the way they're like so in love with the Course of Love, like just like
It came across.
they can't sleep. Like a friend of mine who like some time ago, she said, I'm always in bed by 9 o'clock and I'm gone. And now she sends me messages at midnight saying, hey, I just finished reading the chapter. You know, completely. She goes like, oh my God. And when she speaks, I'm going like, whoa, there's so much love pouring out of it. So yeah, it's a really beautiful movement that's happening in the Slovak Republic. Very beautiful.
Yeah, I just found it so interesting that I could go in and get the same energetic reading without having to hear what was being said.
Well, guess what? In our 7 o'clock Course in Miracle lesson, we have 2 Slovakians that don't speak English. And they say the same thing. She says,
yeah,
but they have a Slovakian version of a Course in Miracle lesson in front of them, so they can actually paste what it said. But they said it's just so beautiful to just be in that space.
yeah.
So yeah, wonderful. It's heartwarming to hear. All right, darlings, let's dive in. Chapter 6, Act of Prayer. Who would like to begin?
I will.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 6, the act of prayer. The thought system of the ego mind is a learned system. And this is why it can be unlearned. The thought system of the truth is always present, as the truth is always present and can be neither learned nor unlearned. It will thus be revealed to you as soon as a learned thought system ceases to block its realization.
Mm. Wow.
How is the revelation to take place? How is this revelation to take place? It will begin by learning the art of thought as an act of prayer. We have spoken already of memory here and have presented the acts of reproducing and recollecting that are involved with memory as acts of creation.
Wow.
Prayer is but reproducing and recollecting a divine memory.
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow, that's amazing.
Mm.
Wow.
And divine memory cannot help but reproduce a divine outcome. Said in another way, prayer reproduces the truth and allows the truth to exist as it is. Prayer does this because it is the act of consciously choosing union. Mm.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Choosing union moves you into a real state of all from the unreal state of the in-between.
Mm.
Only from within a state as is real can anything happen in truth. Sorry, I'll read that again. Only from within a state that is real can anything happen in truth.
Mm. Wow.
I just had a vision of changing the dial on the radio.
Yeah.
That's all you do is just change the dial.
Mhm. Simple.
Yeah.
Turn off the noise.
Yeah.
Static.
That's the in-between, the static.
Mm.
Mm.
Thus, prayer must be redefined as the act of consciously choosing union. With this definition, you can see how your life can become a prayer. This does not negate the fact that a prayer is also a constant dialogue of asking, being answered, and responding. This is the aspect of prayer that makes of it an act of creation. Wow, so beautiful.
Mm.
Because now what we're doing in Course in Miracles every 15 minutes, the act of prayer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being
Yes.
one. Yeah.
That's what happens. And that, oh my God, this is so incredible, guys. Like, it really is. I can't help it. Like, I set up the timer And then it's just like triggers this exactly that divine memory. That's why I just went so like, oh, that's what it is. It just takes back to that what already is. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thanks for the reminder, Ruben. Yes, I forgot to put my timer on. My timer on and my recording on is my biggest flaw. All right, let's go for it.
Would someone else like to read?
Yeah, I'll go. Prayer and miracles work hand in hand. Once both are seen for what they are. Do not forget what union is. Union is the mind and heart being joined in wholeheartedness. It is your union with yourself.
Bingo. And when you unite yourself, you unite automatically with everyone else. That's why separation from God is only separation from ourselves. Isn't it incredible?
Union with yourself is union with God.
Yeah. That's it.
Thus, your concentration must not stray back to old concepts of prayer or of reaching God through the intercession of prayer, as if God was separate from you and accessible only through a specific means of communication. You can see, perhaps, how this attitude toward prayer came about, as it is, like much you have learned, close to the truth without being the truth.
Yeah.
To use prayer only as a means of reaching out to a God seen as separate is to attempt to use what cannot be used. Such ideas of prayer have had credence because this reaching out does at least recognise that there is something to reach out to. Such ideas of prayer have long been opening doors for those who are ready to walk through them to a real relationship with God and self. But this is not the concept of prayer of which we speak, nor one that can reasonably be called a way of life or likened to the art of thought. Prayers such as these emanate from either heart or mind and have not the power of the wholehearted. Prayers such as these emanate from the state of fear that is the reality of the separated self.
It's quite a strong distinction.
So I'd imagine those prayers wouldn't work at all. Someone else like to read?
I can do it.
Thank you.
6 seconds. To pray out of fear is not to pray at all. To pray out of fear is not to pray at all, because such prayer chooses not the union that is the prerequisite. To pray out of fear is to ask from an unreal state of lack for what is seen as missing or desire. In contrast, true prayer formed in union is a means of creating, recollecting, or recalling a divine memory and transforming the divine memory into a present moment experience.
Wow.
Memory is valuable to us now because it relies not on perception. If perception were all that were available to you, each experience will begin and end and have no ability to relate to anything else at all. Without memory, what you learn one day will be gone the next. A person you met one day, you will not know the next. Thus, memory allows relationship. Memory of how you relate to past experience is what makes each individual unique. A family can share many similar experiences without relating to them in the same way. It is the way experience is related to through memory, which shapes the different personalities, paths, and thus future experience of each of you. So, what happens when memories of past experience are revisited under the all-encompassing umbrella of a new way of thought? The different personalities become one. The different paths become one path. The future experience become one. And in this oneness is peace everlasting. What happens when this oneness is accomplished is that divine memories arise to replace perception. This is miracle mindedness. The accomplishment of this state of being is the reason for which you are here. It is your return to yourself. It heralds the return of heaven through the second coming of Christ. The energy that will bridge two worlds. I'm complete.
Happy to move on the next chapter.
Very appropriate for Easter.
Mhm.
Mm.
Happy to read. Chapter 7, Suffering and the New Learning. Suffering is seen as a condition of this world because the world is seen as a world in which who you are can never be accomplished.
Wow, that's amazing. Just right there, one little sentence. And that's the whole dilemma, trying to accomplish it in the world, isn't it?
Mm.
Like Jesus says, my kingdom is not of this world.
Mm.
Yes, it is.
Mm. Read that again. Suffering is seen as a condition of this world because the world is seen as a world in which who you are can never be accomplished. You have perceived this inability to be who you are in terms of not being able to do as you would desire to do. Live as you would desire to live. Achieve what you would choose to achieve. The true way in which
Yeah.
the true way in which to see this prerequisite to the condition of suffering is as the perceived inability to be who you truly are, a being existing in union.
Mm.
There it is. Take away all for the moment that you would strive to be, and the feeling of not being able to be accomplished or complete will still be with you. Recall the many times you felt certain that a particular achievement would complete you and take away your feelings of lack.
Mm.
Even the most successful among you have found that your worldly success has been unable to bring you the satisfaction and the peace you desire. Hmm. Even the most spiritual and godly among you accept suffering. Even those who understand as completely as possible the truth of who they are accept suffering.
Mm.
My use of the word accept is important here, as these may not see suffering as pain, but only as a natural part of being human that calls for acceptance. They thus find peace within suffering rather than abolishing suffering. They thus find peace within suffering rather than abolishing suffering.
Ooh. Dun, da, da.
This acceptance is due to the belief that spirit has chosen a form, and more accurately, put a lesser form in which to exist, and that choice includes the choice to suffer.
Oh,
Wow.
Mm.
This belief may accept suffering as a learning device rather than a punishment. But it's still in its acceptance of a false no, but it still in its acceptance of a false notion invites suffering.
oh, right.
This belief accepts learning through contrast. That evil is seen in relation to good, peace in relation to chaos, love in relation to fear.
Oh.
This belief exists in the in-between, where on the one hand, there is darkness, and on the other hand, there is light. One or the other must exist at a given time, but never both. Thus, the absence of good health is disease. The absence of peace is conflict. The absence of truth, illusion. This belief does not accept that there is only one reality and that it must exist where you are. Anyone like to have a read?
Yeah, I'll read.
Thank you.
We are moving you now away from all such beliefs to a knowing that precludes the need for belief at all.
Mm.
Yes, I have said that contrast is a favored teaching device of the Holy Spirit, but I have not yet said that the time of the Holy Spirit is ending, even though I have stated that the time of the second coming of Christ is here. I have said that the time of parables has ended and asked you not to look to those historical figures that taught in such a way as your examples any longer. I have said a new way of learning is needed and is here. To continue to rely on the ways of old, no matter how effective they were and no matter how much they spoke the truth, will be to not learn the new. You have advanced, taken steps, climbed to a new level, and acquired an ability to perceive differently in order to make this new learning possible. If you do not let what you have attained serve you, you will not realize what this new learning has been for. If you do not let what you have attained serve you, you will not realize what this new learning has been for. You may reach an ideal of human satisfaction and happiness, but you will not go beyond what is human. This is why we must speak now of being human in a new way. We must reconcile the differences between the human and the divine. What's reconcile?
Come to terms.
Come to terms. We must reconcile the differences between the human and the divine. We must, in other words, speak of incarnation.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
no.
Oh no! It's like, oh,
Oh, I can't stand incarnation. Leave me alone. I feel so frustrated at the moment, in and out and in and out. It's just what he's talking about. I just can't stay with what I've learned. It comes back though.
yes, it does. It just gets so intense. Like the integration of this material. It actually takes a while to like sink in on a visceral level.
Yeah.
And there are times I take one sentence and I'm going, oh, that's enough for today.
And I just feel this rage coming up in me, and it just comes as a
Beautiful.
little irritation, but it's actually rage.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
I don't want to fucking know about this stuff, and yet all I want to know is this.
Yes.
It's both.
Yes,
Amazing.
and just being honest and transparent, so beautiful. And rage is the most welcome. Like all these rejected feelings and emotions, this is the place, we bring
And
them in. We no longer need
it,
to hide that we are pissed off,
yeah. But I suppose what's irritating me is his making it very clear it's my responsibility what I do with it. And I'm pissed off. I have been trying so fucking hard. I try so hard, and I'm still in and out and in and out of it all the time.
Oh, thank you.
I'm laughing now, so that's
Yeah.
good, right?
I think that's what scares me off, that it feels like a massive responsibility to live this way, but maybe it isn't.
That's that word.
That's the fear kind of
Responsibility.
the talking, isn't it?
Suffering's much easier.
Yeah.
Well, there's that word responsibility again. What we're asked to do is respond.
Yeah. That sense of feeling responsible for something has scared me away from so many things in life.
Actually, I think that's exactly what was coming up in me just then. Thank you.
And yet it's a figment, it's a phantom, it's a lie. It's a big fucking lie. Oh, and I've just lived in that lie my whole life,
Beautiful.
Bugger that. No more. Oh, yeah, now, oh shit. Now I want to be responsible, like, fuck, I couldn't before.
Oh,
like I want to respond to God, not to this other nonsense, I've been responding to all the lies instead.
I feel like I've been responding to all the lies with a lie myself, just joining the lies, and I'm
yeah. And it makes you, it's the anger, doesn't it? Like, oh. Yeah.
What is
You're
real?
so pissed off with yourself. You're really pissed off with yourself. It's like, what the fuck have I done? Hey? What's real? Exactly. Like, what was I bloody thinking?
I know.
Let myself down because I know, but I just come back and I don't respond truly.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because like when I gave birth to my first daughter, I was just so overwhelmed with this sense of responsibility for this human being. I just went under.
Yeah.
And I couldn't enjoy being a mother even because it just completely overwhelmed me.
That's a good summing up of postnatal depression, isn't it?
That's what I didn't know at the time.
Holy,
that's what was
holy
going on,
guacamole! I'm responsible for this person.
Yes, I know.
Person. And I'm not qualified.
Yeah, what have I done? Like, what the hell have I done? Yeah.
Where's the instruction manual?
Because I guess there's this huge fear that you're going to mess it up. You know, if you take on the responsibility, you're going to fuck it up for sure.
And that's not just being a mother. I remember the next day after the birth of my son, I was hanging out washing, and my hands were shaking like this, you know, like fully. I just could not even get the washing thing because I was shaking. I'm going like, wow. I was like totally terrified of this new role.
Yeah, my daughter's about to give birth any moment, and her partner, when they found out that night, he's up in the middle of the night. He's on the laptop doing all this research, you know, like he's those sort of things. Oh, yeah. Why is that so terrifying? Oh, man. Yeah.
Why is it so terrifying? Because of the state of the world. You look at the state of the world and go, holy fuck, how am I going to protect my most precious child from what's out there? That was it for me. It's like, holy, I'm definitely not qualified for that.
Oh.
Was there any fun when the child was really small and playful? And
there would have been, there would have been some, but
but there's always that underlying.
Yeah, that underlying. Yeah.
See, and luckily it was different. All this just to avoid going into the Incarnation and Resurrection.
That's
perfect
true.
delaying maneuver. Let's talk about something more important.
You got us, Cole.
Oh, no, it wasn't meant to.
Talk about birth.
Talk about birth, right?
Yep, there's one more thing with that responsibility for a child that never goes away, no matter how old they get.
That's true.
A life sentence.
And I feel like we're being reincarnated every time.
Yes.
With a new relationship, like being a husband. What in the world? She's never happy. It's always something new. And you think you got it? And no. Same thing with children. It's always reincarnated. It's never ending. But I told myself, remember that you are discovering the truth about yourself, Rui. You are everything. You're not just a man. You are everything. So relax and enjoy. But when I put love, love is so beautiful. When I let love lead the way, it's different. Anyway.
So, for those who came a bit later, we are chapter 8, Incarnation and Resurrection.
Thank you.
I was proclaimed to be the Word incarnate, a union of human and the divine, the manifestation of the will of God. I've told you that you are no different than I was. Now shake. Now I call you to be no different than I am. Yes. We haven't really incarnated. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just these empty shells walking around, undeveloped wills and closed hearts and going like, give me.
Separated cells.
Separated cells.
Because I was always blown away by that bit in the Bible that said that we'll do even more than what Jesus did, you know. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh, we have internet now, you know.
AI.
Mm.
Might be true. Might be true.
Beautiful. Oh, amazing, huh? Actually, this is amazing is I've been recording lesson 90. And it's incredible how many times in that lesson is the word feel. You got to feel this. You got to feel, you got to let yourself incarnate this quality that you're so actively denying in yourself. Like we deny strength and then we feel weak. We deny divinity and so we feel, you know,
Even weaker.
even weaker. Yeah, exactly. Right? And it's like, it really just actually the whole lesson is like incarnate who you truly are. Like I remember once I was driving and I said, God, what is it like to be you? I said, not a good question to ask when you drive. Because I got the answer and everything disappeared that was of this world. Like my car was on there, I was on there. There's still something driving. I need to do a left turn, you know? I'm going, shit. Like to have that, like, Jesus, what is it like to be you? Is a really good question.
Mm.
What is it like to be you? And then step back, let that be given. That's exactly what we're doing when we remember when we go into prayer and remember that divine self. That's all we're doing. But that divine self is not just like, oh, I'm like so divine now, right? No, it's like, holy moly. It's like the reverberation and the ignition of each, like each, I don't know, each chakra or whatever the hell is that we have inside of us begins to reverberate on a frequency that was turned off for a very long time. So it feels like, ah, ah. I remember that after 8 years ago when I got this course, I had this experience. I could not open the book for 6 months. I just could not. I just could. Like, just don't give me another line. Thank you very much. I'm already over ignited. So I'm just saying this. All of this I'm saying is that this will reverberate us into a new way of being that's incomparable to anything else. That's why he's saying, like, throw away the traditions, throw away all the old stories, because the new is coming. And with the old stories, they're just going to be like a heavy coat and heavy luggage that you're dragging around and you will never need it. That's my preacher for today. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Well, I was so stuck in this thing that, you've got to find the peace in suffering, but to not even have any suffering at all, that's way better.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Be completely undone. As a man suffered, died, and was buried. As who I am, I resurrected. I am the resurrection and the life. Who needs to say that? I do. I am the resurrection and the life.
Resurrection and the life.
Say it. Say it. And
I am the resurrection and the life.
The resurrection and the life.
Resurrection and the life.
Yeah,
I am. I like that first I am there in capitals.
Yes.
The crucifixion did not establish the atonement.
Resurrection did.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well pointed out.
Beautiful. Yes.
I had these two Seventh-day Adventists come to the door and ask if I'd invite me to a meeting on Easter Sunday to talk about the death of Jesus. I said, I prefer to think about the resurrection, thank you.
I already heard about that.
She said, oh, yes, that's important, but... And I said, oh, look, I'm not interested, thank you.
I am the resurrection and the life. Wow. What I was in life was a manifestation in form of the will of God. And so am I, yeah? Thus too have you been. God is the giver of life. Thus life is God's will.
Oh.
Yes. But with my resurrection, which was accomplished for all, the meaning of life, the reality of life changed through you.
Though.
What?
Though?
Yeah. Though you have known this not. Sorry, guys.
What?
Though you have known this not. The great experiment in separation ended with a resurrection. Through you, though you have known this not. But the resurrection and life are now one and the same.
Oh.
My God. Wow. Far out, huh? That they are the same has not meant the automatic realization of this change of enormous proportions. So I'm talking about.
What you talking about, Willis?
The very nature of change is one of slow realization. Change occurs all around you every day without your realization of it. Only in retrospect are the greatest of changes seen. Thus, the understanding of the truth of an historical event changes over time, and it may take 100 or 1,000 or even 2,000 years for the real truth to be realized. Yeah. Even though many versions of the truth have been accepted previously, there is only one truth. There was only one truth at the time of the event or change took place, and there is only one truth in time or eternity, regardless of the variety of interpretations of the truth. I have come to you now to reveal the one truth that has existed for the past 2,000 years without your comprehension of it. The nature of life changed with the resurrection. I am the resurrection and the life. So are you. As I no longer suffer the separation, you need no longer suffer the separation. Even though the resurrection returned not life to the form I once occupied, it returned me to you in the form of resurrected Christ. Oh my God. who exists in all of you, bringing resurrection even unto your forms.
Mm.
I became the Word incarnate upon my resurrection rather than upon my birth.
Wow.
Oh,
Mm. Mm.
the word incarnate, I've always associated with body, but he's saying upon his resurrection.
Mhm.
He didn't come back into his body.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Like my experience was that I got really ignited, like everything began to vibrate. The one thing I didn't do, which I would do before, I didn't push it down.
Mm.
Because when that energy flows through you, it takes out through, like it's like a cleanse, like it pushes through all the bullshit that I've accumulated in my mind that I decided truth was. So all this shit comes up. And if you go like, oh, no, I just want the love, I don't want this shit, it stops the flow. As a human being is like, oh, no, let me not feel this. Oh, let me not feel that, right? So it's like this constant pressure. We forgot we're holding it down. So this is what he talked about before. He talks about the pass through. Something comes, let it pass through. Let it pass through you. That opens up the channels.
Mm.
Eventually, this energy, when it comes, it begins to flow through you. It's like, like it does feel like a new incarnation of something new, and it begins to virtually erects you in a different way. Like you become this erected self, and from that erection straight to resurrection is only a matter of allowing it. Yeah, it's extremely physical. And that's why the resistance to it.
So it's not always comfortable. That's what you're saying. It's not always
The
comfortable.
minute you resist it, it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So,
because you're resisting it.
yes. So what I cracked was that I really began to consciously resist. And the more I consciously resisted, the more I saw how much resistance was there in me. And seeing how much resistance was there, I mean, it was an easier to kind of transform.
Mm.
When you consciously resist, that's being aware of the resistance and not being in denial of it.
Yeah, you can like, I think I'm resisting. No, you are like resisting with all your strength and all your mind and all your power.
Which is considerable.
Yeah, just allow yourself to be the resistance, and then you see that it's like, oh my God, like I'm a resistor in the radio, resistor, like resisting the energy that's flowing.
We used to say resistance is futile in the academy.
Yeah.
And what you resist persists.
Yes, exactly. Because you're holding it down.
But really, it's God resisting God, isn't it?
Well, it's more like, Jesus says, resist no evil. That's what it really meant. Like, don't resist whatever's arising.
Lesson 79. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, if I defend myself, I am attacked. Or in my defenselessness, my safety lies.
Yeah, bingo.
That's the thing.
Or how about I step back and let whatever's arising lead the way?
Yeah, how about any of the lessons?
How about
nothing I fucking see means anything?
And you can see how
Oh, very
perfectly
cool.
designed they are.
Resistance is like just making something separate, trying to make it separate from yourself in a sense.
Exactly.
But
That's
just,
why it's so
I mean,
important to use the world, you know? Like, if you say the world is not real, you just kill that which can save you. Because the world reflects you. Yeah, we are all of it. Right? So if something triggers you, notice what's happening in you. It's just reflecting something in you. And then you notice your relationship to that which is arising because of that. And then you will see what the resistance. Yeah. And then you stop resisting. And then you get this pass through. You begin to flow like a river. Yeah.
I just never seen really the resurrection as being the end of separation. Like that's sort of just gone clunk.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
right. Because if at the time, if all the followers of Jesus had seen that was the truth, it would have been a different, it would have been a massive celebration, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
8.5, as I no longer suffer the separation, you need no longer suffer the separation. Even though the resurrection returned not life
to the form.
Yeah, I want
to return me to you.
Yeah, keep going.
In the form of the resurrected Christ who exists in all of you, bringing resurrection even unto your forms.
Wow.
Meaning we don't have to crucify the form to be resurrected.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Actually use it. What I found, that body, you know how in the course they say the body is a learning device? Actually, it's a device to learn from.
I was listening to Neville Goddard recently, and he's saying that our body is the ark. Like it's got everything in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just
And
like
when you actually, yes, and when you use your thoughts correctly, the body will reflect it immediately.
Right.
I have so much confusion around body.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
But it's the
it's incredible. It's
everything. The temple. It's the temple.
Yes, all the archetypes are in it. All the archetypes. So if you say, I don't know, you can use an archetype. What's your favorite archetype? Somebody has got Jesus, someone's got Krishna, someone's got Shakti. Some guys have Shiva because of the masculine thing. You just go, whoever the archetype, imagine that the archetype is like in you that can teach you what it's like to be itself.
Oh, mine is the maker of the sword of light.
Okay, so go, hey, maker of the sword of light.
Yeah.
Show me how to be you.
Yeah.
And step back and notice what begins to happen. Like within you, immediately you will have these subtle shifts.
Yeah.
Subtle movements. Let those movements go. Let them not go, like get rid of them, but let that move you. That will actually begin to incarnate that quality in you. So the word becomes flesh. You become a living example of that.
I had this experience reading a book called, it was a Steiner sort of book.
Yeah.
The King of Ireland's Son. Have you read that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just had this full-on archetypal experience reading that where,
all in you, all of this in you, like we're good, bad, ugly, and magnificent, and you can call any of them. I remember once I was running a men's group, and we were doing these incarnating masculine qualities, right? And at some point I said, now imagine, how did I say it? It's like allow yourself to be like, you know, if you were a Buddha, how would you breathe? How would you sit? How would you be? What would you not think? Or what would you think, right? And then I said, and if you were a Hitler,
Yeah.
and it was the most amazing moment, because you know what happened? No one wants to be Hitler, right?
No.
But for a moment, they allowed themselves, because they were like tricked, like they were not thinking, because everything we did was just so expansive and so exquisite. So they, for a second, allowed the Hitler in. And I tell you guys, I have never seen so much holiness in men's faces. It's not because they incarnated evil, but because they allowed it for a moment. They allowed that which is the most hidden in human psyche to make visible. And I was blown away because it was like a brand new moment. It was like the new. I was like, oh my God, guys, if you just saw yourself just then, like it was a holy instant. Not because of that, but because they no longer, they allowed what's normally the most hidden in us, the most ugliest, to be visible. And in that visibility was divinity.
Yeah, because it's that hiddenness that gets in the way of the light, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
it's not what you hide, it's that you hide. And when you no longer
right.
hide something, particularly something that's really hidden,
Yeah.
comes the light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last night at dinner, I was just being a smart ass to everyone. And I've always hidden my smart ass because I wanted to be spiritual, kind of the spirit. And everyone's just laughing. It was so joyous, just so FNC. And it was bloody amazing. Because I'd squashed that for years. And I was such a smart ass as a teenager, but I was so strong and powerful and fucking don't say that shit to me.
Number one smart ass.
And then I spiritual, and I lost a part of me that was really fun and beautiful and strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
So I guess the practice could be like, if I was Christ, how would I sit?
Yeah.
And notice immediately your body wants to move.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a sec. Just try, just for a second. If I was a Christ, how would I breathe right now? Step back and wait and notice the subtle energetic shifts that will begin to become. It's really like the genie, you know, like it just shows you immediately what is it like. But you got to tune into subtlety of it. It's not gonna be like glunk, it's gonna be like subtle changes. Yeah. And if I was Christ, how would I actually be in wait to be, feel the subtlety of it. Yeah. That's why the feeling is so important, because it begins to feel, suddenly you feel different. And if I was Christ, what would I think? What would I not think? Yeah. Anybody has a little bit of a movement inside them? Just let that lead the way. I step back, let that Christ in me take over to demonstrate, even in my body, what is it like to be walking Christ, fully incarnated, just like Jesus was demonstrating to us. He actually says, don't follow me, follow my ways.
Yes.
I am the light of the world, say it, you know? And when you say it, notice what happens to you. And if it's resistance, great, let that be it. Because something's moving in you to way of releasing and expressing itself. And then suddenly you might feel that your body, like you're sitting on your ass and you're going like, whoa, I am that. I am here. I'm alive now. Like when I say all these things, like I feel like my sacrum goes like, you know, like this incarnation of strength and support and sitting truly in the being of, you know, being the incarnated Christ, you know.
And it could be the smart-ass Christ, or it could be the angry Christ, or it could be the whatever Christ. It's still the Christ.
It doesn't matter, really. You're just learning from, and then you're learning from the new, because it will reveal itself to you now, and it will be incomparable to anything in the past. And if it's comparable, forget it. Just look for the new. Look for the new.
Oh.
Like God is creation, so constantly create itself. Right? So you can't ever name it. You can never go, oh, this is what it is. You can't, because it's already gone. It's already creating itself brand new. Yeah. Let's go back to the reading. Kim, you want to continue? This is hot. It's a hot topic.
Okay. Yeah, we're in the middle of a paragraph.
That's fine.
So, I became the Word incarnate upon my resurrection rather than upon my birth. This will seem confusing given your definition of incarnation as the Word made flesh. Oh. I am the Word made flesh. You took this to mean that flesh took on the definition of the Word or the Almighty when I became flesh and bone through birth. But neither my birth nor my death were consequent with the Word, as the Word is I am. The Word is life eternal.
Oh.
My resurrection brought about the Word made flesh in each of you. You who have come after me are not as I was, but as I am. Does this not make sense, even in your human terms of evolution? You are the resurrected and the life. Oh.
Oh.
If we're all the resurrected and the life, what the hell are we worrying about? You know?
You have to realize it fully. What are you doing? It's gonna, it will dawn on you on the next level and the next level and next level. And that's like God has many mansions, you know, as you can handle it, you'll get the next, you know, like the next parcel, you know.
I don't think I can handle this.
Yeah, I know. Wow, this is an incredible chapter, isn't it? How does this relate to your thinking? You have been born as God, man.
Reborn.
Huh?
Reborn.
Reborn as God, man. As God and man united. The resurrection is the cause and effect of the union of the human and divine. This is accomplished. This is, in effect, the way in which the man Jesus became the Christ. Wow. Jesus Christ. This is, in effect, the way.
Yeah, like, Adrian, you're right. Like, how could we couldn't have timed this any better. Really, like, what the you know?
Esther.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Heart and a mind joined in union. Wow. Jeez. Oh. Are we okay to just leave it at this?
Yeah. I can't take any more, Cole.
Yeah, I know. Now you know that feeling, right? This is your new normal. I can't take anymore. Yes. Beautiful, guys. Thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yes. It's 13 of us here again. Well, now 12.
What was that? Sorry?
Well, we were 13 just a second ago, and now it's...
Oh, okay.
Jesus has vanished.
Oh, he's hiding under all that responsibility.
Thank you, Kim.
Like, yeah.
Oh.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Resurrected.
I'm back to my father. You're on your own, honeys. It's all in you.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Oh, yeah, happy Easter.
It's a good time to be reading about resurrection, isn't it? It's
Oh,
perfect.
so good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Divine timing.
Oh, thank you, guys. Oh, what a journey.
The first day of the rest of our life.
Yes. Yes, the rest of the new life.
Which is eternal. Yeah.
Our daily lesson talked about the misuse of time. And I just wonder how that figures in to our discussion. Yeah. I came in a little bit late.
Are you talking about the Course in Miracles lesson, Dennis?
Yeah, of course, the miracles lesson. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it today?
Let me
Yeah, it was
recognize the problem so it can be solved, and let me recognize that my problems have been solved. But specifically, what I find incredible with these reviews is that, you know, those 3 little specific practices to apply to things, that's just been like, whoa. Whoa.
To me, it says and because I'm not a great at applying things, but it says application right now. Application. That's what it's saying. But I don't. I mean, I want to interpret it. You know, that's kind of like
that's the hell that happened with the Course in Miracles. Want to interpret it, want to put it into some kind of that the mind gets satisfied with some answer with which it will die when you go to sleep. You know, it's like, it's not it.
You've got to download the right app.
So as soon as the
non-separation app.
as soon as a question comes up in my mind, it's saying to me, apply it. How can you apply it right now? How
Yeah.
can I apply whatever is being said now?
Beautiful.
I'm tired of not applying it and like learning about it and talking about it. Oh, I know about it, but I don't. I'm not too good at demonstrating it. This is.
You might now understand why so many teachers of God in A Course in Miracles teachers can't open this book, because it takes away the teacher position. It takes away all this investment in interpretation and thinking they actually know what the fuck that Course in Miracles is saying, which is exactly what the Course in Miracles don't do that. Yeah, it's not about what you think it says. It's like, look at your resistance when you read this. Look what happens. What's your response? You wake up in the morning and you feel like shit, right? And you open your lesson, it says, you are the light, and you are the joy, and you are whatever, And what's your response? What's your response?
Yeah.
That's what you want to get to. Not what it means. It's like, what's your response when you're feeling like shit? And it says something like,
light and joy and peace abide in me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. Yeah. Light and joy and peace. 93, right? Abide in me. What? Where? I feel like I am just dying in here. I feel like a slab. I'm exhausted. I'm sticky and stuffy and stiff, The light abide in me, right? What's your response?
So what I'm recognizing in myself right now, Cole, is that I've been just confused today. And you just brought up that example, and I go, light and joy and peace abide in me, yes. And then, but there's another part there that wants to be right. So now I'm faced with a choice. Do I want to be right, or do I want to hear what he's saying? So that's it. And it's probably the same with what he's saying here. I've been trying to.
And what's your true response?
Work it out. My true response.
What's your unfiltered, maybe not so nice response to that?
To what? To today's reading?
Well, whatever. Light and joy and peace abide in me when you're like confused as. What's your response? What's your true response? Yeah, that one, where you take a moment and you go like, oh, did you see where you just went? You went into a different place in you. That place doesn't get expression. Mind rushes in to establish its impotence, right? Now, what's your true response?
Is that what it says in the Course or in here?
It's just basically how it should work. Read a lesson, see what happens to you. Read another lesson, read a sentence, see what happens to you. Read the next one, see what happens to you. Not what you think about it. Actually, here in the addendum, it says something really quite profound. It says, when people ask, what does this mean? Ask them, how does that make you feel? It's much better way. Yeah.
You know what, Cole? Today, I just recognize I am one big fat objection to everything.
And you're the most adorable. You're just the most adorable.
So fuck off.
That's it. That's what it is. Look, the whole room's moving. Yeah. See that?
We give you an exclamation point.
Beautiful. That's the
yeah, and I fight and I object to being an objection to every fucking thing, and that's actually what the problem is I go, okay, I'm an objection to everything.
Yes.
And that's wrong with me, actually.
Yes.
I'm pissed off.
That's what he does. Like, when I sometimes open up a lesson, and I've done this for so long, and I still can wake up and go like, oh God, not this shit again. And I just notice how much I am like, no way.
And that's the true responsibility, isn't it?
Yes,
That's all we have to be
responsibility.
responsible for, is how
Yes.
we feel.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah, and look at what I've created. It's like,
Yes.
no
So
wonder
he says,
I'm
do not
pissed off.
interpret anything. He says, seek only the experience and do not let theology screw you up.
Mm. That's
And I
where
know
the
I come back to this in
Yeah.
half an hour or tomorrow or whatever and just receive it. I know that can happen and will.
All right,
Let's have
darling.
some fun. Let's have some fun.
We're having fun.
I know. Let's have some fun.
It's too late. Too late.
Oh God,
No,
it's
no,
not
no, no.
not serious after all.
no.
It's not. Joy is your natural inheritance. And, you know, seriousness is a major disease and an addiction. That's the pain, you know, the seriousness and the, you know, overthinking, exhausted mind. I can never figure it out because the problem is not where the mind think it is.
Can you say that again? I'm trying to work that out.
Yeah, it's recorded, thank God.
Good luck.
I wouldn't be able to repeat myself. All right, darlings, I got to run. Mwah,
Thanks,
mwah.
Lovely to
everybody.
see you all. Thank you,
Enjoy so
everyone.
much.
Cheerio.
So
Thank
beautiful
you.
and
Thank you.
delightful.
Bye.
That was
Thank
great.
It's
you.
Thanks,
amazing.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank-
Amazing.
See you.
Remember, light and joy and peace abide in me.
Happy death.
I
Happy
am the
death.
It sure does.
resurrection
It
and the
sure does.
life.
Ah.
Bye.
Ciao,
Yeah, everyone.
guys. Love you.